Could he still make a presidential bid? Why would the case involving the adult film star be heard before any others involving the defense of democracy? How are you going to find a jury that is fair? Answers to some of the questions about the indictment of former President Donald Trump that have been emailed in by What Matters newsletter subscribers are provided below. The Manhattan District Attorney, the Fulton County District Attorney in Georgia, and the Department of Justice are each conducting one of 4 criminal investigations into him. Although many of these queries could be applied to each investigation, the majority of them are related to Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's indictment of Trump for a hush money payment scheme. The most frequent query also has the simplest solution. If Trump is charged or found guilty, can he still run for president? Absolutely, yes. According to Richard Hasen, a law professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, nothing prevents Trump from running while indicted, or even convicted. Only 3 things are required of candidates under the Constitution. They have to be a citizen by birth, 35 years of age or older, a person who has lived in the US for at least 14 years. Politically speaking, it may be more challenging for an accused candidate to garner support because they run the risk of being found guilty. Candidates cannot present themselves at their best during trials. But it's not against the law for them to run for office or win. The Constitution and the 14th and 22nd Amendments contain a few asterisks, but none of them currently apply to Trump in the cases that are thought to be the closest to formal indictment. Term restrictions. Anyone who has served as president twice, i.e., twice elected or once during someone else's term before winning their own, is prohibited from seeking re-election under the 22nd Amendment. Trump is exempt from that because he lost the 2020 election. Impeachment. A person is removed from office and barred from running for office again if they are impeached by the House and found guilty of serious offenses by the Senate. Trump was twice acquitted by the Senate despite being twice impeached by the House during his presidency. Disqualification. The disqualification clause in the 14th Amendment was created with former Confederate soldiers in mind. It says, "No one who has previously taken an oath as a member of Congress, an officer of the United States, a member of any state legislature, or an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion." They may also not serve as a senator or representative in Congress, as an elector of the president and vice president, or in any other civil or military office under the United States or under any state. The hush money payment to an adult film star that is the subject of the New York City indictment has nothing to do with rebellion or insurrection. The same is true of potential federal charges involving classified documents. Some people might interpret potential charges as an insurrection if they relate to the January 6, 2021 insurrection, or to the 2020 election meddling in Fulton County, Georgia. However, that is an open question that would have to go through the legal system. Election day in 2024 is quickly approaching. If found guilty, could Trump cast a ballot? Trump would be prohibited from casting a ballot in Florida, where he currently resides, if he were to be found guilty of a felony in New York, at least until he had completed any potential sentence. Why was this case chosen instead of the more important ones? First off, there is no evidence of any coordination between the Manhattan District Attorney, the Justice Department, and the Fulton County District Attorney. These are all independent investigations into independent problems that each move at their own speed. The payment to Stormy Daniels, an adult film actress, took place in 2016. The statute of limitations, according to Trump, has expired. The clock may have stopped when Trump departed New York to assume the presidency in 2017. It's also unclear how precisely a state felony can be created by combining a state crime, falsifying business records, with a federal election crime. There have been some extremely thorough legal analyses of this, such as this one from Just Security. We'll have to wait to see what Bragg adds, if anything. A source told CNN that the charges in the indictment are not yet widely known. Falsifying business records in relation to the hush money payment to an adult film actress seems like the smallest of the 4 criminal investigations into Trump, especially given that federal prosecutors decided not to charge him when he left office. His finances, the focus of a protracted investigation, appear to be more significant. But the Manhattan District Attorney decided not to indict Trump for tax offenses. On the basis of some of that evidence, the New York Attorney General sued Trump in civil court. Investigations into election interference in Georgia and the Justice Department's inquiry into January 6 and his handling of classified information also seem more important. But New York City, Fulton County, Georgia, and the federal government are all pursuing these cases in their own ways and at different rates. Hasen wrote in his email, "I do believe that the charges are much more serious against Trump related to the election. But making false statements in business records is also illegal. I'm more skeptical about combining that in a state court with a federal campaign finance violation. Will Trump have his fingerprints taken? Capture a mugshot. According to a federal law enforcement source who spoke to CNN's John Miller before the indictment, Trump's Secret Service detail was actively coordinating with New York City authorities about the arrest procedure in the event that Trump was ultimately charged. Typically, the fingerprinting, mugshot, and arraignment procedures are standard. He would undoubtedly be accompanied by his protective detail, and it would not be a public event. Following a law intended to reduce online extortion in 2019, the majority of mugshots in New York are not made public.